Welcome back. All right, so the first thing that you'll notice in this season preview is that it says since 2014, 2015. And that's because generally I don't change the headlines for the columns, and for Seattle, I'm not going to change it either. So obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights have been around since 2017, 2018. We're going to preview them now. I previewed San Jose earlier today. Now, looking at Vegas's history, this is a team that's missed the playoffs a grand total of one time. And that one time they missed, injuries caused that miss of the playoffs. So in their history, Jonathan Marchessault, their all-time leading scorer. Now, of course, he's moved on now. And there is definitely some question around the Vegas Golden Knights and how strong a team they're going to be this season. But let's look at their 10 all-time leading scorers. Marchessault, 609 games, 228 goals, 264 assists, 492 points. There's a chance that William Karlsson, if he plays top minutes and plays well, maybe William Karlsson ends up passing him this season. 597 games played, 180 goals, 252 assists, 432 points. So with 61 points, Karlsson would pass him on the all-time list. Riley Smith, who's moved on, 487 games, 142 goals, 210 assists, 352 points. Shea Theodore, very good chance that he'll be third on the list pretty early in the season. He's only 3 points behind Riley Smith on the all-time list. 538 games, 79 goals, 270 assists for 349 points. Mark Stone, 349 games, 121 goals, 199 assists, 320 points. So fingers crossed that Stone stays healthy this season. Chandler Stevenson, who is no longer with the team, of course, 392 games, 88 goals, 181 assists, 269 points. Max Pacioretty, also no longer part of the team, 260 games played, 112 goals to go with 112 assists for 224 points as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Jack Eichel's played 193 games in Vegas, 81 goals, 111 assists, 192 points. And I did see some of the comments on my video discussing who I think are the best forwards in the game, and I still think Jack Eichel's one of the best forwards in the game, with apologies. Alex Pietrangelo, 305 games played, 40 goals, 137 assists, 177 points. And Alex Tuch, 315 games, 80 goals, 92 assists, 172 points, before being traded to Buffalo in the Jack Eichel deal. Their all-time leading wins producer, of course, is Marc-Andre Fleury. 117, 60, and 14 record for him. Logan Thompson, 56, 32, and 11, but he has moved along. Leonard, 39, 21, and 4. He's on LTIR this season, has been for a while. Adin Hill, 35, 19, and 3. So good chance that if Adin Hill has a healthy season, by the end of this season, he's number 2 on the all-time list. He's 21 away from Logan Thompson. And Malcolm Subban, a record of 30, 21, and 7 as a Vegas Golden Knights goaltender. So, not a bad list overall. This is a team where, you're not that far into your existence. You got a list like that. That's a pretty strong list for a relatively new franchise in the National Hockey League. So their last 5 seasons, their points percentage of .631 is 9th overall in the National Hockey League. Goals for per game, 3.23 per game. That's 9th as well. Goals against per game, 2.8. That's actually 8th overall in the NHL. Their power play, 19.8%, is 20th. The power play's been an issue for Vegas for a very long time. Really throughout their history, they haven't had a great power play. They've had the personnel for it. It just hasn't quite added up. Their penalty kill at 79.1% is 17th overall over the last 5 years. And then you look at the numbers from this past season, 2023-2024, of course. 598 points percentage, which was 14th overall. They're 3.21 goals per game, 14th overall as well. 2.98 goals against per game is 12th. Their power play stays 20th at 20.2%. Their penalty kill, 16th at 79.3%. So their special teams still in that mediocre range, but their overall numbers going more towards that middle point of the National Hockey League. I'm not sure if Vegas is still a top team in the National Hockey League at this point. So their top 10 scorers for this past season, and again, if a player gets traded, their numbers could end up here. Marchessault, 82 games, 42 goals, 27 assists, 69 points. I say that because in the San Jose video, there were guys who were in the top 10 scorers with that team who actually had been traded. Now in Vegas' case here, I don't think anybody was traded out of the bunch, but we'll go through it. Jack Eichel, 63 games, 31 goals, 37 assists, 68 points. William Karlsson, 70 games, 30 goals, 30 assists, 60 points. Another strong season for Karlsson. Stone played 56 games, 16 goals, 37 assists, 53 points. Chandler Stevenson, 75 games, 16 goals, 35 assists, 51 points. Barbashev, 82 games, 19 goals, 26 assists, 45 points. Shea Theodore only played 47 games, but he recorded 5 goals, 37 assists, 42 points. On a points per game range, he's doing pretty well. Nick Roy, 70 games, 13 goals, 28 assists, 41 points. Alex Pietrangelo, 64 games, 4 goals, 29 assists, 33 points. And Michael Amadio, 73 games, 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points. And of course, Amadio has moved on in the offseason. Stevenson's moved on in the offseason as well. But the lineup they're going to have, while we can make the argument about whether or not it's weakened, and we'll discuss it here, they should still be in the mix for a playoff spot. The top 2 goalies this past season, Logan Thompson, who has moved on, 25-14-5 record, 908 save percentage, and a shutout. Aiden Hill, 19-12-2 record, 909 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. So rookie watch, and I'm going to be looking at 2 players from every team when I get through this, if I can. In Vegas's case, Brendan Brisson is still a rookie coming into this season, and he might get some pretty decent ice time as well. Lucas Cormier on defense, one that might end up in the lineup. I didn't actually include him in the extras with the defense. I kind of ran out of room. He's up here, though, and we'll see whether or not he bumps anybody else down that I've got in the extras list for Vegas on the blue line. So their top 12 forwards, Ivan Barbashev, Jack Eichel, and I would think Mark Stone on that line as well, although Stone could be on the second line. But that's a pretty strong top bunch there. Then you've got Pavel Dorofeyev. I've talked about Dorofeyev a lot. How much I like the player. Now is his chance to maybe prove himself. Tomas Hertl, if he's 100% healed up and good to go, that could be huge for them. If he's not, William Karlsson would slot into that second line spot. And Alexander Holtz, pickup from New Jersey, could be an excellent value pickup for the Vegas Golden Knights. And if he is, and if Dorofeyev really hits, Vegas could be in the mix for the division. Brendan Brisson, probably on that third line, I would think, with William Karlsson and maybe Victor Olofsson, who they picked up from Buffalo. Olofsson could end up anywhere from the first to third line. He's not going to be on the fourth line, but anywhere from first to third. Brett Howden, Nicholas Roy, Keegan Colasar. You've got some good, hard-working forwards there. Nicholas Roy is an excellent center who can play third-line center as well. But if you look at it, Eichel, Hertl, Karlsson, Roy down the middle, that's a pretty strong 1 through 4 at center spot if that's how it ends up working out for them. So the extras, they've picked up Tanner Lazinski. Also, of course, they've still got Jonas Ronbjerg. I like Ronbjerg because it's a fun name to say. Zach Aston Reese. Hey, you can find any reason, really. Zach Aston Reese, who was picked up, of course, likely to play in Henderson. Grigory Denisenko. And Mason Morelli, who got called up last season, didn't look out of place when he got called up. Then you get to the blue line, and this is where things are interesting, because it looks like this top 6 is all set, right? You've got Noah Hannafin, Alex Pietrangelo, Braden McNabb, Shea Theodore, Nick Hague, and Zach Whitecloud. That is a really, really strong top 6, but in the event of somebody getting hurt, again, I've got Lucas Cormier here, but you've got Ben Hutton, Dyson Mayo, Caden Korzak, Daniil Chayka, and Robert Hague, who was picked up in the offseason too. He could be a healthy scratch, but he can jump in. So probably ends up being one of those extras that they carry on their roster come regular season. In net, you've got Aiden Hill and Ilya Samsonov. So Samsonov goes from the pressure cooker in Toronto to I'm not going to say laid back, but definitely not the same kind of pressure cooker as Toronto. It feels like Vegas fans really rally around their players quite well. I'm not saying Toronto fans don't, but Vegas fans kind of famous for this right from day one. So maybe that kind of supportive atmosphere ends up helping Samsonov out. Also, you've got Akira Schmid, who pretty good goalie for New Jersey when he got the opportunity. Now he has a fresh start. I would think that since he went to market and they kept him, they probably told him, hey, you're one of our guys that's in the mix for that backup spot potentially. And Isaiah Seville, who came up, I believe, for a couple games this past season. With Patera moving on to the Vancouver organization, it means that Schmid and Seville very likely to be the tandem in Henderson. Cap space, it's Vegas. We know Vegas doesn't have cap space, not the kind of cap space that you would want. The cap space will show up once Robin Leonard goes on LTIR. So it's not a ton of cap space they're going to have. They'll have a little bit of cap space once that LTIR with Leonard happens. But yeah, there's definitely some challenges here for the Vegas Golden Knights if they want to stay in the mix in the West. Their schedule starts out with 7 out of 11 games at home, so that's beneficial, right? At least it should be. A couple years back, they struggled at home, were very good on the road. November, 9 out of 15 are on the road. I would think that most teams would prefer that. Get your games at home, maybe get yourself a good record and some confidence, and then have the road heavy portion of the schedule. I guess it really does depend on the team. I think there's some other teams that may very well love that idea of starting out on the road and then working their way home. In February, and I'm going to focus on February because the Four Nations Cup eats up a large portion of that month. There are 4 on the road before going into the Four Nations Cup, and then 2 out of 3 at the end of February are at home. In April, 4 out of their final 6 are on the road. But again, Vegas in their history has been pretty good on the road. They've been excellent at home. The Fortress is kind of an intimidating place to play, but it's not a place where you don't have a chance. At least, especially over the last couple seasons, it's felt like some of that Vegas, momentum or just that Vegas mystique, it might have worn off just a little bit. The Cup odds plus 1,400. I will say this too. I could totally understand teams coming into Las Vegas in that first year or two, players being kind of excited. You're in Vegas, you've got the Strip right there, and it's a really fun city to play in. But now that we're into year 7 for the Vegas Golden Knights, it's more of a business environment, right? It's more of, okay, we've got things to do here. We got to get this done. And maybe you can tune out the bright lights and all of the glitter that is the city of Las Vegas. And yet I picked the jersey with the least amount of glitter to it. But the channel vote tells me that fans still think this team is not necessarily a contender, but should be in the mix for the playoffs, likely in the playoffs. 24% of the 12,000 plus votes said that Vegas will finish first or second. 63% said Vegas will finish third or fourth in the division. 10% said fifth or sixth. And the rest, I assume, just hate Vegas. 3% was the hate Vegas portion, which said seventh or eighth. But that would put them behind either Anaheim or San Jose. I mean, it's possible, but I don't see it necessarily happening. So for me, I think Vegas this coming season is going to be a really important year. One thing to keep in mind is that this is a team that's added a little bit of youth, which I think they've been needing. I've called for this for a long time. So you've got Dorofeev, you've got Holtz, and if they hit, you're in good shape. If they don't, you do have others in the lineup who can come up and give you that production. But this is a team that if they struggle to score out of the gate, might have to get creative in terms of getting another scorer, because down the middle things are really strong, but on the wings I could see scoring being a little bit more difficult for them. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts. So to me, the Vegas Golden Knights are a team that will be in the mix for a playoff spot, very likely still there. Maybe they end up being in a wild card spot, maybe they end up top 3. But one thing that I said when I was on the Ducks podcast there during the week is Vegas doesn't look scary anymore. Vegas doesn't look like a team that can have those huge comebacks in third periods, which was the hallmark for this team throughout most of their existence. And now they just don't seem to have that same lineup, that same oomph, that same ability to do that. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think that Vegas can be a team that's dangerous in the third period still? And one thing I don't have on the board is Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy's very good at getting more points and wins out of a team than you otherwise might think he should. But let me know your thoughts regarding that, regarding the Vegas Golden Knights. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Before anybody asks about, well, they could put Stone on IR. Okay, fine. Let's just say Stone goes on LTIR. You're really diminishing that wing position, because then Holtz, Olofsson, Kolasar, if you bump them all up, now you're putting Brondbjerg in the lineup. I really think you're handicapping their ability to put the puck in the net. This is not a team that can afford to put Stone on LTIR this season without risking potentially ending up outside the playoffs. But they did find a way to keep Hanifin, so you just never know. Let me know your thoughts. Like I said, hit like and subscribe. Like I said, thank you guys so much for all your support. As I always say, I will talk to you again soon.